This is the Hood Classic. The Hood Classic is the most anticipated rivalry game in the Pacific Northwest between Washington's most historically dominant basketball schools, Garfield and Rainier Beach. Since 2012, Garfield and Beach have combined for 9 state championships, solidifying their status as two of the toughest teams to beat in the state year in and year out. While the Hood Classic once featured superstars such as Jamal Crawford, Brandon Roy, Nate Robinson, Tari Eason, and DeJounte Murray, to name a few, the talent this year remains nothing short of elite. This is episode 5 of Metro League, Garfield vs. Rainier Beach.
What's up, how y'all doing? My name is Reese, yes, I'm EBE. Yes, I'm the breadwinner. You touch me, then you gon' DIE.
Welcome to episode 5 of Metro League. My name is Joey, and today we got the game you all have been waiting for. It's the Hood Classic Round 1 at none other than Crawford Court. We're going to get right into the game, but first, let's see where each team lines up in the standings and rankings coming into this game. Beach comes into this game undefeated in league play and at the top of my rankings. They're currently the best team in the state along with Annie Wright and have been blowing out pretty much every team they play. Garfield, currently at 3-1 in league play, moves up in the rankings into that 2 spot after winning the Cactus Jam tournament last week in Arizona. Seattle Prep also moves up into that 3 spot as they've been playing really good basketball as of late, and Eastside Catholic drops after taking a couple more losses, even though they came to tough out-of-state teams. But this Hood Classic matchup was shaping up to be the game of the year, so let's get right into it, beginning with the starting lineups of each team. Starting for the visiting Garfield Bulldogs, we got 6'2", number 8 ranked sophomore Isaiah Davis, 6'4", number 1 ranked sophomore Trip Haywood, 6'2", number 95 ranked senior and son of head coach Brandon Roy, BJ Roy, 6'9", number 5 ranked senior Juju Irvin, and 6' sophomore who's one of the top guards in his class, KJ Hightower. For the home Rainier Beach Vikings, we got 6'5", number 1 ranked senior and Rutgers commit Caden Powers, 5'10", number 18 ranked senior Niall Robinson, who's the son of former Beach and NBA legend Nate Robinson, 6'3", number 3 ranked sophomore Keonre Morris, 6', number 2 ranked senior and UNM commit Jalen Petty, and 6'4", number 9 ranked sophomore Micah Illy-Manise. The game sold out 7 hours prior to tip-off and had Jamal Crawford, Nate Robinson, UW head coach Danny Sprinkle, and the mayor of Seattle, Bruce Harrell, all in attendance. Both teams came into this game knowing it would be a battle on this final Hood Classic matchup on Crawford Court, so let's tip things off.
It's time for Viking basketball!
Caden Powers won the tip for Beach, but Juju Irvin started the game with a huge block for Garfield. Both teams remained scoreless in the first minute of the game until 4-star Keonre Morris hit this mid-range J to get Beach on the board, but KJ Hightower answered back on Garfield's next drive. KJ hits an and-one floater to tie it up, but missed the free throw as Beach took it down the court. The sophomores then continued to trade buckets, with Keonre missing a 3 but getting his own rebound and another bucket before KJ answered back once again for Garfield. Jalen Petty then got to work, hitting this tough step-back 3 to give Beach some momentum. Beach then put the pressure on, forcing a turnover as JP would hit Micah Illy-Manise, cutting to the hoop for the bucket to jump out to a 5-point lead. BJ then hit Juju in the paint with the mismatched defense as Juju would size up Keonre for an easy bucket. Now the gym was so humid at this point from all the people in there that the walls were sweating and the floor was slick. Both teams were slipping, but the game had to go on. The number 15 ranked junior in the state, Donnie Burkett, now checked in the game for Garfield, and he came down and hit a floater right away. The number 11 ranked junior, Marcus Illy-Manise, also checked in for Beach, and JP quickly found him for a triple on their next possession. Then, moments later, this happened. Zay Davis tosses a lob for Juju, who throws it down with both hands to make it a 2-point game. Both teams then made a stop before Marcus had this nice drive to the hoop, shifting the momentum back to Beach. They continued to put the pressure on as Keonre got a steal leading to this fast break, but KP couldn't quite convert the dunk. But it's all good because seconds later, Marcus got a huge block, giving KP another shot on this dime from Niall Robinson. Juju then got another bucket, but the Beach defense continued to force turnovers. They got another steal and moved the ball well as Keandre would hit another pull-up midi to extend Beach's lead. Tripp then came down the court for Garfield and hit Donnie Burkett, who nailed a three, but Maceo Rivers now checked into the game for Beach, and he answered right back with a three of his own on the other end. Right before the end of the quarter, KJ drew a foul and knocked down both free throws, so the game would head into the second quarter with Beach up 21-17. It was time to switch sides for the second quarter, and it's a good thing I did because right away, this happened. 6-foot Jalen Petty elevated for the slam, and on their next possession, KP was looking smooth on this lay. Garfield now down 8, then got a much-needed 3 from BJ Roy, and both teams got steals after that. KP got one of them before he came down and hit this Euro step floater as Beach continued to cook. They then forced another turnover, and Maceo made a nice pass to Jalen in transition, who had this pump fake layup finishing through contact. Juju then hit a mid-range jumper for Garfield, but KP matched him for Beach, going hezzy, step back in the eye for the mid-range splash. A couple plays later, KJ started heating up again, getting a putback bucket followed by this jumper from the top of the key. JP then got the ball back, and he just gets too much separation as he knocked down another tough step-back 3. Moments later, Tripp had a beautiful pass to KJ, who finished the shot under the hoop, but Beach kept attacking with JP getting another bucket in transition. KP then had a huge block, but so did Tripp, showing off his athleticism on this play. Both teams continued to make stops, but Keandre would eventually knock down a 3, putting Beach up 11 with just under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Garfield needed a couple more buckets before half and couldn't afford to let Beach score anymore, and right when they needed it most, Zay Davis knocked down back-to-back 3s. The game then headed into halftime with Rainier Beach up 39-34. We're going to get into the second half in just a moment, but if you still haven't copped an Inevitable Athlete hoodie, what are you doing? They're only $55, super comfortable, high quality hoodies, and you can rep our brand right now by going to inevitableathlete.shop, which is linked in the description below. But let's get right back into the game because the second half started to get wild. Rainier Beach held the #1 sophomore in the state to 0 points in the first half, but Tripp came out in the third quarter with a different energy. He made a tough bucket to start the half, followed by a steal on Beach's next drive, and when Garfield came down the court again, he splashed a 3 to tie it up early in the third. Juju was then making it tough for Beach in the paint on the other end, and just like that, Garfield stole the lead after BJ hit KJ in transition. But Beach wasn't about to let Garfield extend their lead as they were moving the ball well on offense, with KP making a nice move on KJ before finding Marcus in the paint. Now tied at 41, Beach got a stop on defense, and moments later, Jalen Petty got back to hitting tough shots. Both teams were locking up on defense on the next couple possessions, but Juju would eventually get to the line, knocking down 1 of 2. KP then did what he does best, knocking down a mid-range jumper for Beach, and Keandre had a nice block chasing down Tripp, but Donnie followed him up, getting the putback score. Then JP continued to show off his skill. He knocked down the and 1 free throw as Beach now led by 4, and they extended that lead on their next possession with Keandre knocking down a 3 who let Zay know about it afterwards. But Garfield, now down 7, wasn't fazed. Tripp had a nice pull-up 3, Juju got a block on the other end, and in transition, Donnie made a tough reverse lay. Juju continued to defend the hoop, getting another block before Donnie found KJ, who hit the float, tying it back up. Now 51 all, Beach quickly got a bucket from Micah Ilimanis, and KP hit a 3, leaving just seconds before the end of the quarter. But Donnie quickly came down the court and got one last bucket for Garfield before the fourth, so the game would head into the final quarter with Beach up 3. It was now do or die time for both teams. KJ knocked down a long 2 to start the fourth, keeping the first Hood Classic of the season a tight game. But Maceo Rivers answered right back for Beach, knocking down a 3, and JP was just too quick for the Garfield defense on this drive, putting Beach back up by 6. Donnie then turned on the Jets, running down the court for a clutch and 1 bucket for Garfield. He knocked down the free throw, but Maceo decided to match his clutch and won, getting one for himself. Tripp then got fouled on a 3 and knocked down all 3 free throws to keep it a 3-point game, but here came the Beach Boys. KP came down the court hitting a finger roll, and JP knocked down a couple free throws to get the beach party started. KP then getting big in the paint, made a nice pass to Marcus who finished the layup, and KP started sizing up again, finishing a tough shot in the paint. Just like that, Beach took an 11-point lead, and all of a sudden, the cheerleaders started going at it, which had the whole gym turned up. JP then knocked down a 3. So Beach now led by 14 with 2.5 minutes left. It looked like it was over at this point, but it wasn't quite yet. Zay hit a 3, and Garfield quickly forced a turnover before Zay knocked down another 3 to keep things interesting with 1:51 to go. But Maceo Rivers was just too clutch for Rainier Beach. Zay then almost hit another 3, but KJ got the rebound and put it back for the bucket. Garfield, down 8 with less than a minute to go, was forced to foul, putting Keandre at the line, who knocked down both free throws. Tripp had a tough and one bucket on the other end, but it wouldn't be enough as KP would end the game with a bang. Beach closed it out 81-71, taking down Garfield in round 1 of the Hood Classic, but stay tuned because they'll face off again in a couple weeks on Garfield's home court. UNM commit Jalen Petty led the game with 24 points, hitting some tough shots, and let me know in the comments if you think he's the best scorer in the state, because I think he might be. Rutgers commit Caden Powers was right behind him with 19 points, doing a little bit of everything in this game. And for Garfield, KJ Hightower led with 20 points as he continues to get better every single game. Thanks so much for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right now because we got lots more of this Metro series on the way and a couple fun videos dropping very, very soon. So stay tuned and we'll see you in episode 6.
I do not see Morgan Chase. I walk it, I talk it, I breathe in this money. Get paid for a mug, don't you look at me.